Before New York wakes, one apartment already sits above almost everything, priced not for shelter, but for altitude, scarcity, and silence. At 217 West 57th Street, the entrance is almost discreet. The real announcement begins only when your eyes travel upward. Ultra luxury here is not loud. It is measured in what disappears: waiting, noise, interruption, and ordinary access. The climb is part of the price. Each floor passed is another layer of Manhattan becoming smaller, quieter, less reachable. The penthouse spans the 129th through 131st floors, turning 3 levels into a private vertical estate above Midtown. The Grand Salon rises 27 feet high, a room scaled less like an apartment than a private civic chamber. Central Park is not nearby from here. It becomes a possession of the eye, public land transformed into private scenery. The formal dining room is about 500 square feet, large enough for ceremony, small enough to control who enters. A library at this height says something old-fashioned. Even in the sky, power still wants a room for thought. The residence was marketed with 4 exposures, giving the owner a city that changes direction every time they turn. Behind the calm room sits infrastructure, service entries, kitchens, staff spaces, the machinery that makes effort look invisible. Not every room performs for the skyline. Some are built for withdrawal, where even Manhattan becomes background noise. The internal staircase turns movement into theater, but only for those already admitted above the city's normal rules. Above the entertaining level, the penthouse shifts tone. Scale remains, but the architecture begins protecting sleep, privacy, and routine. The owner's suite occupies the north wing with its own sitting room, dual dressing areas, and Central Park as morning ritual. At this level, storage becomes choreography. Clothing, staff, mirrors, light, everything is arranged to remove hesitation from the day. Even the most private rituals borrow drama from the view. The city is outside, but never fully absent. Guest rooms here are not afterthoughts. They are quiet signals that access to this home can be extended, never assumed. A gaming lounge softens the monumentality. Even at this height, the home needs a room where status pretends to relax. The third level changes the question. It is no longer how someone lives here, but who they can gather above Manhattan. The ballroom measures roughly 2,000 square feet, a private event space suspended where New York usually keeps only sky. Grand entertaining depends on rooms meant to stay unseen. The catering kitchen is where spectacle becomes logistics. The terrace adds about 1,433 square feet outdoors, turning height into something felt on the skin, not only seen. From here, the view is not decoration. It is risk, weather, engineering, and a reminder that height has a cost. At night, the glass stops separating inside from outside. The apartment becomes a mirror held over New York. Billionaires Row is not a neighborhood in the old sense. It is a skyline argument about capital, visibility, and land. New York has always sold proximity to culture, finance, privacy. Central Park Tower sells something rarer: vertical separation. The tower was designed by Adrian Smith plus Gordon Gill Architecture, with residences shaped around views before almost anything else. Interiors by Ratek Studios favor restraint, because at this altitude, decoration competes with the one thing no artisan can make: the view. The strange part is not that someone could pay this much. It is what they might still be trying to buy. Below the penthouse, Central Park Tower built its own private club, proving the apartment is only part of the purchase. The building's Central Park Club spans roughly 50,000 square feet, turning residential life into a private vertical resort. Dinner downstairs can still happen above most rooftops, turning ordinary hospitality into a controlled extension of status. Some rooms preserve older codes of privilege: the quiet chair, the closed door, the conversation nobody records. In Manhattan, space is the rarest amenity. Water, silence, and emptiness become more valuable than ornament. At this altitude, wellness is not marketed as escape. Escape has already been engineered into the building. The gym is not about display. It is about preserving discipline when the city below is built on distraction. Even the tallest residents must answer a simple human need, where children can feel the world is small enough. Every perfect room has a shadow system. Deliveries, cleaning, maintenance, security, schedules, all moving before the owner notices. A tower this slender is not simply designed upward. It is calculated against wind, weight, elevators, and market psychology. The Penthouse was once marketed at $250 million, a price that turned the listing itself into global news. For homes at this level, the buyer pool is not small. It is almost mathematical. The address is Manhattan. The market is global, shaped by capital that compares apartments the way others compare currencies. Central Park remains public, but the ability to frame it from above becomes one of Manhattan's most expensive privileges. The city below moves by the second. The apartment above is priced as though time can be slowed. A home like this does not merely contain art. It demands a collection capable of surviving the view. Silence here is manufactured. Glass, seals, structure, and pressure all work so the room can feel effortless. The terrace may be beautiful, but it is never ordinary. Weather reaches it before comfort does. The view changes every season. That is part of the seduction. The same asset never shows the same face twice. Before anyone lives inside it, a residence like this must first be sold as an idea. At street level, the tower is tied to retail life. Above, it becomes something almost completely removed from it. The public sees the price. The private story is negotiation, anonymity, tax planning, timing, and the psychology of patience. From the park, the Penthouse is invisible as a home. It reads only as light, height, and distance. Most New York homes are built around compromise. That contrast is what makes this Penthouse feel almost unreal. Extreme scarcity does not guarantee urgency. Sometimes the rarest homes wait because rarity itself narrows the room. After guests leave, the ballroom returns to its real condition. A vast, expensive silence above a restless city. Effortlessness is the final illusion. Someone always arrives early enough to make the apartment seem untouched by life. For all its altitude, the Penthouse still returns to the oldest question of home: can it make someone feel held? The apartment explains New York without saying a word. Ambition rises, space tightens, and the view becomes a currency. Perhaps the most expensive thing inside is not marble, glass, or air. It is the distance from everyone still looking up. From a distance, the Penthouse becomes almost anonymous, just glass near the clouds, holding a life few people can imagine. In homes like this, even temporary rooms matter. Guests learn the rules of the house through the smallest details. Freshness is part of the maintenance. Flowers arrive, fade, and vanish before imperfection has time to become visible. Privacy here is not a feeling. It is a system of doors, elevators, staff, cameras, and habits that rarely announce themselves. The most powerful threshold may be the quietest one, a private door that never has to explain why it stays closed. At this level, a viewing is not casual. The apartment performs carefully even when no one is speaking. The architecture does something unsettling. It makes a wealthy person look small, then sells that feeling as grandeur. Luxury often means subtraction. Less noise, fewer strangers, fewer interruptions, fewer reminders that the city is difficult. Every skyline begins smaller than a hand. Then money, approvals, engineering, and appetite pull it into the clouds. A library can soften height, but it cannot erase it. Even thought feels different when the ground is this far away. The rooms may be empty today, but they are scaled for collections that travel with handlers, insurance, and silence. Bad weather reveals the bargain. The owner buys the drama of the sky without surrendering to it. At street level, rain changes everything. Above, it becomes texture on glass, another mood for the same expensive view. The view is priceless until privacy becomes more valuable. Then even Manhattan can be lowered like a curtain. Even dinner carries hierarchy. The simplest plate may pass through architecture designed to keep effort behind the wall. A table like this is not arranged for hunger alone. It is arranged for proximity, trust, and controlled exposure. The same logic appears everywhere. Fit, proportion, restraint. The richest lives are often tailored before they are displayed. Arrival is choreographed to be brief. The street touches the resident for only a few seconds before the bathing absorbs them. For many buyers, a penthouse is not only a home, it is a line inside a larger balance sheet. Nine-figure real estate rarely belongs to impulse. It moves through advisors, entities, documents, and carefully managed exposure. Leaving is also a ritual. The resident descends, but the separation created upstairs does not immediately vanish. From the sidewalk, nothing confirms what exists above. That uncertainty is part of the building's power. The park below remains shared. That is what makes the private view above so culturally complicated. From below, the city is touch, weather, sound. From here it becomes pattern, distance, and ownership of perspective. A large home is also a sequence of decisions. Where to be visible, where to withdraw, where to become private again. At the highest level, status is not always shouted. Sometimes it is written quietly on a card at dinner. Outdoor space in the sky sounds romantic. At night, it can feel like standing at the edge of an idea. The human labor behind luxury is often designed to leave no trace except comfort. It is watched, valued, compared, and imagined from far away. In the end, the penthouse is less a room than a question. How far above a city can homes still feel human? Behind every effortless morning is a room like this, where ordinary objects are arranged until they feel almost ceremonial. There is grandeur here, but also a strange restraint. The room refuses clutter because the view already says too much. Before silence, there was impact. Steel, concrete, permits, cranes, and workers building desire, one floor at a time. A tower is never only architecture. It is law, capital, timing, optimism, and a bet that someone will want the top. The view can be owned for an evening, but not held. It changes whether anyone is watching or not. The penthouse belongs to the same emotional economy as art auctions. Rarity, silence, competition, and carefully managed desire. The language of luxury is often microscopic. Tolerances, finishes, timing, and patience that most people never see. The strange achievement is not height alone. It is making that height feel domestic enough to call it a living room. Even above Manhattan, life still needs packages, repairs, dry cleaning, and someone keeping ordinary friction out of sight. The first reaction is rarely speech. At this height, even confident people need a moment to adjust their scale. What looks effortless to guests is rehearsed in inches. Chair angles, glass placement, timing, temperature, and silence. Morning levels the city for a few minutes. Light reaches the penthouse and the sidewalk without preference. Every surface has traveled. Stone, glass, wood, metal, materials from elsewhere lifted into Manhattan's vertical theater. Moving into a home like this is closer to installation than relocation. Even furniture arrives with strategy. From this desk, New York looks orderly. That may be the most seductive illusion of all. At midnight, the home stops explaining itself. The rooms become corridors of quiet, waiting for morning to define them again. Its calm depends on people who know the rhythms of lives far above them. No matter how high the penthouse rises, its address begins on a sidewalk everyone can walk past. By blue hour, the apartment becomes less certain. It is beautiful, yes, but beauty does not answer everything. In the end, even the highest home depends on a small human gesture, turning down the light. The apartment's deepest promise is peace. Its deepest question is whether peace can be purchased by moving farther away. For most people, it will remain exactly this: a light above the trees, expensive because it cannot be reached. Above New York, the penthouse waits in silence, proof that even the highest address is still searching for home.